Hi, this is Tom Kane, the voice of Jedi Master Yoda. And this is Inside the Force. Listen, you will. Foreseen it I have, yes.
It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome back, everyone, to Inside the Force, episode 71. Dave Cottingham here with Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to a jam-packed Inside the Force. If you're joining us, we appreciate it. We are at InsideTheForce.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Inside the Force, Facebook, Inside the Force, and listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and TuneIn Radio right now. Right now.
All over the place.
All over. We're all over. Exciting times, as I keep saying every week, but it is exciting. It's Star Wars.
Yeah.
And on this week's show, we're going to be talking a lot about our thoughts on the brand new novel that just came out this past week, Star Wars: A New Dawn, by John Jackson Miller. So we'll talk. We haven't dived a lot, too far into the book, but we'll talk about our expectations for it as we read it.
Right.
Get you caught up with some news and talk a little bit about. I wanted to talk to Casey a little bit about this. We talked a little bit about Story Group, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into what their task is coming up, because this kind of kicks off their canon. All right, so of course we always start off with the big Star Wars event, which is Episode 7 coming next year. What kind of news we got? Episode 7.
Well, nothing substantial. Like, I don't think necessarily has been any new movie news of value, but I guess kind of the biggest thing actually happened the other day. Some speculation where, I don't know where I stand with this necessarily, but Adam Driver is on the cover of the new issue of the GQ magazine, and he is dressed in clothing that some people are saying is very, very reminiscent of Han Solo. And even kind of like his hair isn't that kind of like, it's long, and it's in that kind of like come over look that Han Solo kind of had, I think, in like Episode 5. And there's some speculation that maybe this is their kind of way of saying that maybe Adam Driver is like Han Solo's son in Episode 7. I completely disagree with this.
You don't think he's going to be his son?
Adam Driver? It's possible. I just don't think this necessarily means it. This right here. I haven't really seen anything that to lead me to that belief besides just it's very similar to the EU storyline of his son. Looking at this picture in particular, this cover, he does resemble Harrison Ford a bit.
Right.
But, they're obviously not going the twin route, I don't think, because he's much older than Daisy Ridley. But that'd be cool. That's fine. I'm not okay with that. I just was a little annoyed by all these crazy conclusions people are pulling from these little trivial moments, like Adam Driver dressing in clothing that sort of resembles Han Solo. But because there was also that rumor that maybe Oscar Isaacs. That he was going to be Han Solo's son, but
really,
no, because he has a Millennium. The rumor is that he has a Millennium Falcon.
Correct.
Now,
yeah.
So they're thinking like maybe he gave it to his son, or perhaps he's just another smuggler that won it in a battle. But I was just interested because I was actually watching. I teach high school media here in Woodford County. And one of my film classes that I teach, we just watched Star Wars actually to kind of start off the year. So I was watching it, and I just the scene with Han Solo talking to Jabba the Hutt, or actually talking to Greedo. Greedo said, like, Jabba may only take your ship, and Han says, over my dead body. It just like might remind me thinking, like, so if he loses it in episode 7, that must be a really significant thing. Like, either he was against his will, because he cares so much about the ship, he wouldn't just give it away.
That's true.
So
that's a very good. That's a very good observation.
Yeah, either that or he just gave it to his son.
Gave it to his son would be the only explanation, I think.
Yeah. Otherwise, why in the world would he not be flying Millennium Falcon? I don't know. It just gave me because I know how they're going back and watching the movies and picking out these very small details about some of the characters' motivations, which is very good, like very smart. So that was one thing I picked up on that made me think about all these rumors that I'm hearing about.
And the only reason, the only reason about Adam Driver that I actually started leaning towards the consideration that he is Han and Leia's son is because, remember, we picked apart that picture, the cast picture.
Yes, right.
And we kind of said that they were sitting in groups, right?
Right.
Well, even though, yes, Daisy Ridley is sitting between Harrison and Carrie.
Right.
But after, Harrison's next to JJ, and then JJ is next to the producer, and then it's Adam Driver. So technically, he could be part of the Solo clan there. Yeah. Because then you got John Boyega and Oscar Isaacs.
Right.
And then, of course, you got Luke and Anthony Daniels next to each other.
Yeah.
So that part I started leaning like, oh, wait, well, maybe he is. And of course, there is that storyline with one of his sons turning evil.
Yeah.
And Adam Driver's obviously been long rumored to be the villain.
Mm-hmm.
So, which ultimately he may not be the villain if there's all these rumors about these Inquisitors around,
right?
Because we don't know what the that older gentleman is playing, right? I mean, he hasn't been really seen or
Max von Sydow. No, he's been lucky enough to go under the radar and all this. I mean, there's some rumor that he may be a voice or something, or I don't know. There's just nothing recently, though.
An older Imperial, maybe,
which is fine,
But he was one of the originals casted and released, as far as name was.
Right.
So
right.
I would think he has some importance to who his character is, even though he doesn't show up.
Huge actor,
absolutely. So that's I don't know but so out of the two, I'd like the idea of Oscar being his son.
Yeah.
And getting the Millennium Falcon. I actually think that's more logical. But, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to jump on one side or the other because, like, these guys who are so sold on, like, one person and it turns out to be true. They're like, oh, I knew all along. I told you guys. But you really didn't know. So I don't like jumping on all of these speculations and being like, oh, he for sure is Han Solo's son because he's wearing his clothes. Or, like,
right,
whatever. I don't know. But that's the only thing that's happened this past week kind of worth talking about, I think, is. But, it's just still speculation, though. I mean, as it should be. We shouldn't really be getting anything.
There was a casting announcement.
That's right. I'll quickly get his name.
It's
an actor from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Miltos Eurolimau.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say his name.
I was going to wait till you said it.
Yeah, Eurolimau, probably maybe French.
Eurolimau.
Yeah. But don't watch Game of Thrones. Don't know this actor, so I don't know how to say his name.
I do watch Game of Thrones. I'm trying to. I mean, I've seen all of Game of Thrones. I'm caught up on it. I don't know what character he plays. Let me see a picture of him because I don't know him by name.
The second
he's
actor
the swordsman.
From Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay, I know who he is.
Yeah,
he was the. He wasn't in it very long. He was only in a few episodes. I think during the first season, where he was the he was a swordsman that was training one of the daughters.
Yeah. And so that kind of brings on all the speculation of, he's going to have a lightsaber. He might be a Sith. But, it's just, I'm sure, why not? It's just, I'm not going to be like, I found out. I figured it out. Star Wars Episode 7. I'm so smart.
Okay, so then, so really that's all the big news for the movies goes. So television show wise, Star Wars Rebels obviously coming out October 3rd here on Disney, and they released I think the fourth and final short. I think they initially said there was only 4, but we're still weeks out, so maybe they got a couple of things up their sleeve still. But we've got an Ezra laced Star Wars Rebels short called "Not What You Think." What did you think? Did you read it, or did you see it?
I don't know if I actually saw this one.
Oh, yeah.
Might have to jump the gun here. I might have to cover this one.
This one is rough. This was all about Ezra, which is really cool. It's him in this TIE fighter. Really neat short. It's basically he's just out in the field of the planet. I don't even know if we know what planet it is yet.
The Lothal, right? Is it Lothal? The one
Lothal. Yeah, you're right. And it's cool because he looks up in the sky in the clouds and he hears like this battle going on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden busting through the clouds is the Ghost and the TIE fighter. And the Ghost ends up shooting the TIE fighter down. So Ezra runs to the TIE fighter that's in the crash and sees that the pilot's okay, and he is, and he has this conversation with the pilot basically, and he's basically almost he's basically robbing tech off the TIE fighter to get some money or whatever.
Watching it through it now.
Yeah, so really cool.
It looks like he even kind of shows some signs of the Force here.
Yes, because the blast doesn't hit him. The blasters.
Yeah,
that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm still like he might, like we talked about last week. He is probably the one I'm most interested to watch. I don't know, just really intrigues me. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because he's a kid or what. But and just watching this is just. I'm interested to see how he fits into the whole grand scheme of things.
I'm interested to see. This kind of actually just popped in my head. What his actual backstory is.
Yes, absolutely.
If he has parents, like his parents, were they Jedi?
Yeah.
The whole Star Killer thing. That's what in Force Unleashed, which was really cool, is he was the son of 2 Jedi,
right?
That went into hiding together after Order 66, and then ended up having a child. So I'm wondering how he, if he's just Force sensitive, which is possible, but be really interesting to find out if he's related to Jedi.
I'm sure that's got to be some cool twist. Maybe, I don't know. That'd be really cool.
So other than that, the TV show wise, nothing really new besides that short.
Yeah.
Again, on the comic news, not really much. We're not going to really be talking much comics anymore because Dark Horse has ended their run. Last week, the final issue of a Star Wars Dark Horse comic came out, which was Star Wars Legacy number 18. I'm not reading that storyline. I wasn't reading that storyline. But that marks the end of Dark Horse's run of Star Wars comics. Hope you enjoyed them.
Yeah, they were gone.
No, they were really good. It was obviously, if you were a lot of people out there, that's how they got their expanding universe, was through just the comics.
Oh yeah.
Legacy was obviously a big hit. I heard it was actually really, really good. All the stuff from the latest Star Wars stuff, from Dawn of the Jedi, which was recent, which I read for a while. Really
I never able to finish that. I started it, but I really liked it. I thought it was a pretty interesting backstory.
Really interesting backstory where, that is the absolute origin of the Jedi and the Force. And, obviously it's not canon, so, but it's interesting to read and see someone's take on it. But so comic-wise, obviously we won't be really talking much comics until January when the first issue of Star Wars #1 hits from Marvel. Obviously, I will be picking that up on a weekly and monthly basis, and I will be talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
So onward to the big news, the release. This is the novel part. The release of the first canon novel, Star Wars: A New Dawn. Finally. By John Jackson Miller. He is the New York Times best-selling author, and I think you probably recognize some of his other work as he's done. What was the other book he wrote? He wrote Star Wars Kenobi recently that came out this past summer. He also did Star Wars Knight Errant. He also did Star Wars Lost Tribe of the Sith. So he's familiar with the Star Wars universe. Huge fan. If you read about him a little bit, he's been doing a lot of interviews. I've been kind of waiting until it kind of goes down to see if I can get him on the show. Actually, talk about this. But anyway, we haven't really. I'm through the first 2 chapters. I think you're only through the first chapter, right?
Yeah.
Or not even.
Yeah, and in that first chapter, I mean, I was looking through it. I've already read the first chapter when they released that preview.
Oh, right.
I realized that was the whole first chapter, so I'm kind of rereading that part right now. But yeah, I've read everything up until the end of the first chapter.
So the thing I want to really talk about that really got me was actually Dave Filoni's forward.
Right. Yes.
I don't think I even knew that he did this until I opened the book and started paging through it and reading it, because there's a great little, obviously, introduction with the acknowledgments, Miller thanking everybody and stuff like that. But his Dave Filoni's forward, and then there was one sentence in particular. That I wanted to read. It might take me a second to find it, but how did you, because I'll tell you what, when I first read it, I mean, Dave Filoni is such a huge Star Wars fan. I mean, I think he's honestly, he's like one of us. He grew up loving Star Wars.
Right.
Just grew up watching it from afar, never really ever trying to really work, expecting to ever get hired to work on it. He even mentions in here how all of a sudden he started working for Lucasfilm, and unbelievable, he started sitting in the same room with George Lucas. I mean, how crazy is that? But it's just his passion is I have the utmost confidence that Star Wars is in great hands with him. So I don't know what you felt like when you read this from him.
I mean, I totally agree. And how he talked about how he went to the opening nights of the prequels, and so he was, as I said, he's a big fanboy. But I want to know exactly how he got that job that he has. Like, I want to know how he applied for it or whatever. Or maybe he had a foot in the door somehow. Like, that's just, he just kind of blurs over that, and so that's a very key point to know. But there is one part that I also love, like how he talked about kind of George Lucas's decision to retire and all this stuff, and it was interesting because he said while they were producing the Clone Wars that George Lucas was even saying, what he's doing is in a sense training or teaching them in the ways of the Force, so that one day when he retires, Star Wars could keep on going without him. And so it made me think, it's so cool because George Lucas, I feel like, has been planning this for a very long time. Because for years we've always, me and you've even talked about how he needs to have a protege. He needs to have somebody to take it over after God forbid he passes. But because there was nobody, his children didn't seem like they would take up the mantle, and we thought the one closest would be Dave Filoni or even Seth Green at the time, because he was a bit getting onto all these Star Wars projects. But little did we know that George Lucas was in fact putting into play all this stuff. Like, he will retire one day. He'll I don't know exactly if he had Disney in mind the whole time, but it's just cool to think Like he knew all along. He planned this all along. And it's just, I like that idea. I like that he like it wasn't just like a on the whim thing. Like, okay, I'll retire. I'll do all this. I'll just go ahead and give it to Disney. You know, I like that he thought it through.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a good forward because it is essentially what, yeah, like if I were in his position, that's, you know, exactly what I would write too. It's just I can definitely identify and relate to what he says.
Yes, I totally agree with you. I think, and I did talk about that, didn't I?
Talk about what?
Him needing a protege or whatever, and
we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about that. No, I agree with that. I think this was, and I love the explanation about, you know, when he talks about the story group, and that's why I kind of wanted to talk about it a little later. But how everything is going to be connected now, and for the first time in the history of the Star. I mean, in more so, if you think about it, he is putting so much more responsibility on him than George had on him.
Yeah,
you know, absolutely. George just basically was like, whatever I want, I'm going to do. You know, the 6 movies are mine, and and this TV show is mine. Do whatever you want in the books and stuff, and it doesn't really matter. But now, to Filoni, it does matter. Everything matters. I mean, he has to, at some point in the story group, he has to see and approve every piece of Star Wars material that gets released. Yeah. And like I said, I wanted to talk about that responsibility a little bit later, but but getting into this book, so great forward by Filoni. I definitely, I don't know if everybody reads forwards, but definitely read this one. Because I'll be honest, I'm a newbie as far as novels go. I'm not a novel reader. I know you are more so than me. It takes a lot for me to be able to sit down and read a novel. And I'll be honest, I've only, outside of school, I've probably only read maybe, I could probably count on my 10 fingers how many novels I've read. Yeah. How many novels? Just throw them out there. How many have you read?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Hundreds?
Outside of school? No, I wouldn't say hundreds. Outside of school, I would not say hundreds.
Okay.
I would definitely
50,
go in
60?
In the dozens. Yeah, dozens.
Yeah.
50 or 60 or so. Because, I mean, you got to count the whole Harry Potter series.
Yes.
All the Star Wars books I've read outside of school. So it's definitely, if not, I'll be surprised if it's lower than 100.
And the ones I'm talking about outside of school are Star Wars novels.
Yeah.
You know, I read Shadows of the Empire, the Han Solo trilogy, the Thrawn trilogy. So I'm outside of that. I don't even know. I really don't even know.
I don't even know, man. Don't even know.
So I feel, I'm really glad because I do want to get more into reading these novels, especially obviously because I want to read everything Star Wars. But but I found it to be so far a very, very easy read. I'm diving right in. I'm getting engulfed in the visualization of it. It's so anyway, the very first chapter. Actually, it's not even the first chapter. It's
the prologue in a sense.
The prologue with this scene with Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
man, this is awesome. I was so not expecting this. Yeah. It's basically Obi-Wan describing the distress signal. That is the signal from the Jedi Temple that warns Jedi, or that not warns Jedi, but recalls Jedi back to Coruscant. Yeah. Which, as you know, in Episode 3, is the signal that basically Anakin sends out from the temple to bring all the Jedi back.
Yeah, so he can kill them.
So they can kill them, exactly. But how awesome is this? When you're reflecting back on this, and you got this young Padawan or this young youngling, Caleb, that is just asking questions away on, and brings up the fact like, hopefully we're not spoiling it. I don't want to feel like we're spoiling anything, but but he brings up the fact that what if, or can it be used to actually warn Jedi to not come back? Yeah. And it is like, that is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it makes you think too. One reason why they would write that. I mean, to kind of explain maybe why. I mean, no explanation was needed why Obi-Wan would change the distress call as he did in Episode 3 to warn them. But it's just even cooler because if someone who's never seen the movies, because as the story group's goal is to make sure, like, you know, this is like maybe someone's first chance introduction to Star Wars would be this book or whatever. If like some kid is just not getting into Star Wars, reads this book and goes back and watches the movies and sees that scene from Episode 3, and they're like, oh, he's doing it. He's setting the distress call. I read that, you know, that kid kind of maybe giving him that idea that maybe they can, this homecoming call could be turned into a distress call.
Yes.
To send Jedi away. And it was just interesting. And also within that prologue, the kid was raising up questions like, you know, why would you have this call to bring all the Jedi around the galaxy into one place? Like, why would you ever do that?
Yeah, especially if there's a threat.
Yeah.
You know, like,
And
why bring everybody here to get slaughtered?
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
I love the tying it together. It's great.
Yeah, but and I think what, you know, if I'm a student of storytelling, which I feel like I am, what I think is going to happen too as we go in the book, I think either Kanan will be one of the younglings that was in that group,
yeah,
or we'll get a flashback of him receiving the distress signal.
Yeah,
because remember, Obi-Wan shows up in Rebels, the TV show, and I think it's the distress signal.
Oh, okay.
I think the hologram.
I can't remember what he was saying in the
I think
clip.
it's him doing the distress signal.
Okay.
So maybe we don't see it till the television show. So maybe it's not in the book, but I think somehow Kanan's going to tie into that scene. That's why.
That's awesome.
I think it was brought up.
Kanan would be a kid, wouldn't he? Wouldn't he be?
Yeah, he would be. He would be a youngling or a Padawan for sure. Yeah, I would think, because this is what this is. This is 14. No, this is not even 14 years.
The book isn't. No,
is under, because it says in there Empire's only been just around a decade.
Yeah.
So it's about 10 years after, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know when that. We don't know when that happened. The whole Obi-Wan scene. Was that during? No, was that during?
It was during the Clone Wars.
It was during the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So Kanan would be. He would probably be a youngling, I guess, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
about that time. I mean, that would be 15 years, maybe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or 13 years, maybe, depending on when in the Clone Wars. So I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, he could be. So that's why I think that scene's going to tie in somewhere.
Yeah,
with him somehow. But no, and then the first chapter as we get in is kind of an introduction to Hera,
and some of the villains that
the villains of the Star Destroyer. Correct, setting up the planet, the system that they're in. Because I think it pretty much takes place on this planet. The whole book. This planet, Gorse. Yeah, Gorse and its moon, and the main moon there.
Gosh, I'm already just getting excited. Just getting into all the mythology. It's that's why I've read so many Star Wars books, because I couldn't stop, because it was just so enchanting. Like, you just get sucked in to the universe so quickly.
Absolutely. Like,
even when I was reading the book jacket and like reading like the summary, and it was giving the description of Kanan, all the Star Wars names are weird and all that, but just reading kind of like Kanan's first and last name, I don't know, it just made me excited, because it's like, I'm getting to know all these new Star Wars characters, like how I spent my childhood. So it's a real personal thing, and I love it, and it's just, I'm excited to keep reading all the books that are coming out.
And I'm telling you, I'm reading this fast, because like you, I just can't. I want to keep reading the next page, man. It is.
Yeah.
And I love the Star Destroyer. The Star Destroyer Ultimatum.
Yeah.
Is the one that kind of is introduced here with a commander's or is it Captain Sloan?
Sloan, and then Count.
And you have Vidian.
Vidian, yeah.
Yeah. So those are kind of setting up the villains. Vidian is the one that Hera is after, and then of course in this book, the second chapter kind of introduces Kanan. So in this book is the actual introductions of Kanan and Hera. They have not met yet,
right?
So what we know of them in the TV series that's going to come out, this is truly the prequel and the introduction of these characters. Mm-hmm. So. I'm through the first 2 chapters. I'm on chapter 3. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to just finish it, man.
Can't stop reading.
I want to try to bust it out. I mean, hopefully by maybe the next episode we do here, or maybe
I'll try
at least in a couple weeks, I should be pretty close to being done. But fantastic start.
Yeah, very good. And love the cover art.
Oh, yeah. At first, I was looking at that when I first glanced at it, and when it got released, I pretty much thought, okay, well, that's their Clone Wars illustrations, but it's actually not.
No.
This is like real-life illustrations, like,
yeah,
like if they were played by real people. Mm-hmm. So this kind of gives you the real look of Kanan and Hera.
Yeah.
Not the 3D animation of him. Mm-hmm. Which is cool because, they have to stay true to, who they look like because they're canon characters now. Mm-hmm. And Kanan looks tough, man. I like.
Awesome. Yeah, he's got a little soul patch there.
He does. He does. But I'm wondering how much because it's weird that he has a lightsaber in this cover. I wonder if he actually.
How he kept it or whatever, or maybe he built it or something.
Well, yeah, but I think the Rebels TV show was always.
I see what you're saying.
Seemed like it was always built up like he's just pulling out the saber then, because you see him putting it together.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I guess maybe this is more of a covert mission. I don't know.
Yeah,
but and Rebels is, I guess, the first outing. But I mean, if Rebels is taking place several years after this book. No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe just something happens. But
yeah, maybe he put it away again or something, and
took it out, put it away. Yeah,
yeah, I'll put it away for next time.
I'll keep it stowed away.
But I think Hera is flying the Ghost, is what I'm getting from this, and then Kanan is driving, flying some other like company vehicle because he's basically this world has a certain mineral, I can't remember the name of it, but that they're mining. The Emperor basically needs this mining system to go faster and better. So that's why he sent this Star Destroyer there. It's funny because Kanan was talking about how most of the people there probably have never seen a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
And I guess this is off-world in a sense where it's kind of far from maybe the inner core, and the core worlds and stuff like this. Yeah, man, that's another thing. I wonder if the map that they have if that's canon. That we've always been.
I kind of always thought it would because I thought Star Wars. I thought I found like that map and all the planets on Star Wars website.
I hope so.
Ago, but I would say, I mean, because all the planets, because Clone Wars, those planets are canon.
Right.
I can't think of necessarily many planets that were purely created in the EU. I could probably think of a few,
that's true.
But I think everything else is pulled from movies or I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, like,
well, you remember like that map had Korriban in it.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Which is not Korriban anymore, right? It's Moraband.
Moraband. Yeah.
So that's not right. Now, technically, I think the Clone Wars did canonize some planets that were introduced. Like you remember in the Force Unleashed, like Canon and Mordia. No, actually, Canon and Mordia was in Episode 3, I think, too, wasn't it?
Well, we never saw it. Unless they showed it at the end, and that's where one of the Jedis was. But I think one of the Jedis got killed on Canon and Mordia.
Yes, right? I think Plo Koon did.
Yeah,
I think that was
a planet like was it Ryloth or
Ryloth,
whatever. because we never saw it, but Clone Wars showed it. They kind of
Correct.
created it. But like planets like that are the home worlds of these species, they were real, but we just have never seen them yet.
Mm-hmm.
But like Gorse,
But they weren't real unless they were mentioned in either the movies or the Clone Wars.
That's why, like we never seen Corellia in a canon version before
Until Clone Wars.
They went to Corellia? I can't remember that.
Yeah, they go to Corellia.
Oh, right. But like this planet in this book, Gorse, like I think that's a new planet. And but Lothal, that's a brand new planet as well.
Yes.
So they're going to add that to the map. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of changes.
Yeah, but where Mothma's from, Chanchurla.
Yeah, that's right.
Have we seen? I don't think we've seen that, right?
No, we have not. I mean, that's I think what was Mon Mothma? We said Mon Mothma was from Chanchurla. Okay,
Yes.
that's right. That's
And
right.
Garnbell Bliss was Corellia.
Right.
And Garnbell Bliss, we don't know if he's going to be canon either.
No,
because he hasn't shown up in anything that's canon related. But I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I thought they made a trip to Corellia because I was thinking like
I might have. I mean, I can't.
I'm gonna look it up real fast, but
But anyways, yeah, they have to change the maps. They will have to be changed. And what's cool about these books, I hope they start doing it again, is showing kind of a timeline of where the books fall in with the movies.
Yes, which I loved about the EU books.
Yeah, and some of the EU books would have a map as well of the galaxy. So that would be cool if they kind of
I think that map, even though it could stand, but I think it's not final or not even.
No, yeah,
I think it'll be thrown away in a sense.
I'll have to redo that.
Because, like I said, the Korriban is on there, and it's not
right. Messed that up.
They did mess that up. So, canon. I'm looking up Corellia under Wikipedia, and under canon. No, it is not. It has not been seen. So that is another.
I mean, they've mentioned Corellia in the movies.
Yes, it says appearances mentioned in Star Wars Episode 4.
Yeah.
When did they mention Corellia? Did they mention
when they say Corellian freighters or Corellian ships, like, because that's when Han Solo is saying, like, how he dumped his cargo. No, they say he's talking about how the Millennium Falcon outran cruisers. I'm not talking about those Corellian ships, whatever. I mean the real Star Destroyer stuff, or the real whatever. How he
the Corellian bulk cruisers, I think. Is that what he says? Like,
yeah.
Does he say Corellian?
Like that. I'm pretty sure he says Corellian.
Yeah. So, and it still says in here, as far as canon goes, that it's still the home world of Han Solo. So,
yeah. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. But that's true. I mean, it's a wonder where these planets lie, because since we haven't seen them, they're not. Because I'm sure, unless Lucas laid out that map, I don't know if he actually thought that those planets were where they were. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I didn't really think of it. I don't know.
Yeah, but because of Episode 3, because of Clone Wars, there are a ton of planets that we have seen.
Yeah.
But where they lie out there, it is a question, I think. So, because there is that, because there is canon because of the lost missions there, where Yoda goes to I can't even remember what that void was, where he went and trained.
Right.
Where that's I think that's in according to the original map, that was kind of the center of the galaxy. And it's near where the Sith homeworld is, because it kind of hides the fact of its presence. It hides from the Force. That's why the Jedi never really could sense them. But again, is that canon?
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to get your opinion on because I wanted to talk about, with the New Dawn upon us now, the book that is, and this being kind of the first, even though Son of Dathomir came out, which was the comic book series about Darth Maul, the 4-issue run that is canon, that was kind of in the works, I think, prior to all of this, because books are always kind of thought months in advance. So this being the first novel that the story group has to incorporate into the canon of the movies and the TV shows, especially with this new Rebels coming out, because this is a prequel to it. Do you think, because I know we've talked about their task and just like how awesome it is, but let's look at it on the flip side. Do you feel like there's a ton of pressure on these guys with having to keep all of these things together in one cohesive timeline?
I mean, it's it's pressure that I can't even understand.
Right.
But I feel like it's easier now because, from what I understand, it seemed like Leland Chi was one of the only people who was in charge of keeping the continuity intact before the story group was made. Or maybe he was just in charge of consolidating all the information in the database and making sure, because he was always the holocron keeper. Like, he always knew everything about all the books and all that stuff. But now it seems like that, he can share that job, that responsibility with a whole group of people. But it's still like, but now it's maybe easier, but it's still harder because I guess now they're putting more focus on making sure everything aligns. Because before now, everything, the EU kind of sometimes contradicted itself, and they would have to reinvent some of the stories, like the Thrawn trilogy being one of them. Like, they had to really reinvent one huge storyline of that, plotline of that whole trilogy. I can't remember the reason for it, but now since they're focusing on making sure that everything henceforth is in continuity, it's just a tremendous job. I can't even comprehend.
I can't either because I definitely think there's actually, even though it wasn't pressure from George, but Leland Chi definitely had a lot of pressure, I think, from the EU. But then again, there were continuity issues,
absolutely,
that arose because I don't think it was all that policed as it will be now,
right?
And plus, it was all non-canon material anyway. But now that everything is canon, because what are the chances? Is there gonna be a mistake that comes up? Like, wait a minute, this guy died in this novel. How's he? Or
I don't know if it'd be something that big, but I think
maybe
there will
not.
definitely be contradictions popping up. Probably. There has to be some. Human error is inevitable.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I think if they're doing a detailed job, it's I don't know. And then again, is that pressure then? If there is mistakes, obviously, which people make mistakes. Is that enough to feel the pressure of fans? Are fans going to be like, man, this story group's a bad idea. It's not working.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen because I'm sure a lot of the Star Wars fans are already upset about the whole EU business. But I hope nothing happens where they're like, oh, see, I told you. They should have just kept the EU the way it was. Everything would have been okay.
I know, but, and you're going to get that.
Yeah,
you're going to get some of those haters out there about that. But
I think I have faith. It'll be fine. I'm excited about it. I think it's a great idea.
Well, and you remember, it was always. It's funny how we did talk about before it got released. We did talk about having a unified, how awesome it would be to. All this stuff connected, and the fact that it is, it goes to show you that the people running Star Wars, they are Star Wars fans,
right?
It's not just a big group of execs that don't understand this. They just want to make money. I know they want to make money, but they want to. Filoni even said that forward, like it's about getting great storytellers together. And just sharing everything Star Wars, and I'm just, I'm just so glad I'm as young as I am right now because I've got a long ways of Star Wars in my life, and it's just awesome. and it starts now. You know, this A New Dawn is out there now for everybody to
a fitting
get.
title.
Exactly, and I think that was meant to be. You know, I think that was kind of thought out.
Yeah.
You know, and I know right when I'm done with this, I'm gonna so look forward to Tarkin, which is the next release.
Oh yeah.
Just can't wait for this stuff to start rolling out, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I don't know. I feel like maybe there might be more stress sometimes on the filmmakers for the movies because you know they want to be creative, but they have to fit in this continuity.
That's true.
I think Marvel is kind of coming across those problems right now.
Yeah,
But
when you're building
we'll
when you're building the cinematic universe like that, and now Star Wars is not. They're building a unified universe.
Everything. Yeah, just
I mean,
That's crazy.
because if someone writes a comic in between, I mean that's true. If someone writes a comic between 7 and 8, that influences episode 8.
Mm-hmm.
You know, possibly. But see, I think what their thought is, as far as the episode movies go, is like I don't think there's anything that's going to contain any storylines or characters.
Right. Yeah, I think
From those
we
movies.
kind of made that
Yes.
clear. Like
They're basically off limits. Like you can do a completely different character out, you know, during that time, but it has to be away from that storyline.
yeah, or just that they're putting the movies as priority. Like first, let's get the idea for the movies, maybe, and then we'll see what we can fit. I don't know, but I just wish I can go to the story group meetings and actually just listen.
How crazy is that?
I just want to listen. I don't have to talk. I'm not going
agree.
to say anything. I just want to listen.
Yeah. And I think it's pretty much been released on who actually is on the story group, I think, right?
I mean, we've gotten quite a few names, and we got a new name with this. I think with the acknowledgments of A New Dawn, John Jackson Miller mentions Rain Roberts, which I've never heard of, part of the story group. So I don't know. I just don't know exactly how big it is.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously Filoni and Chi and Hidalgo and I'm assuming Kennedy is on that at some point, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I doubt JJ is.
No.
But there's a couple people that, if you watch that video about them, there's a couple people, other people that got interviewed on there. That's part of the group. So, but I'm glad. I mean, it's a fantastic idea. I don't know whose idea it was. If it was Filoni's, if it was Kennedy's, or maybe even George's.
Yeah.
But it's a fantastic idea to have this group to be able to oversee this, knowing that it's in good hands for years and years and years to come. I don't know what else to say besides I understand that. I don't know. I don't obviously. Yeah, we don't know what kind of pressure it is, but I understand that there is going to be pressure on them to make sure that they take care of Star Wars. You know, because you got a lot of people out there, you know, obviously that are still true to the EU and satisfying them with this new book series and stuff. You know, that's going to be a little bit of a task.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, but I'm reading it. And I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, all right. In fact, I want to go ahead and throw this out there to our loyal listeners. I want to give one of these books away.
Oh, there we go.
So we are going to give a book away, Star Wars: A New Dawn, a hardback John Jackson Miller book. Of course, just like our other giveaway, how you got to enter is you got to go tweet us, go follow us and tweet us, and give us a rating over on iTunes. All you got to do is just sign in with your iTunes account, set us up a nice rating on there, and then leave a comment. I mean, hit us up a comment on there, and then tweet us that you did it, and boom, you are in. We will pick a winner, and I will send you. The main thing about tweeting is so I can send you. Get a hold of you that you want, and then send this copy of this book to you. So go do that. Go, hurry, go do that right now. Go right now.
Just pause it and come back.
Yeah, just do it. So yeah, I love this book enough that I'm going to give one away. So
very good.
All right, trivia, as always.
Trivia.
We end this thing on trivia, and I've got it in front of me now. So. Let's see. We're going to go with number 20 or 251.
251. Here we go. Let me see.
Of course, this is the Phantom Menace era.
251.
251.
Got an
Here we
early
go.
one here. All right.
Okay. Where in the Naboo swamp do Mots dwell? Where in the Naboo? Where in the Naboo swamp do Mots, M-O-T-T-S, dwell? A, underwater. B, in low-hanging nests. C, inside tree trunks. Or D, in underground burrows.
I'll go with E in an applesauce jar. Because that is
Mott's
essentially
applesauce.
what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, never heard of Mott's.
Yeah, this one is weird. Do Mott's dwell? This is going to be a tough one. It's going to be a guess one. I'm going to go
The Naboo swamp.
I think I'm going to go D, underground burrows. I don't know why. I just
I mean, that's...
I don't know why, but I'm going to go D.
Yeah, I'll say A.
That was going to be my second choice. But
Yeah, I'll say A.
Okay, I will select D on this side here. Ding, 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 ding,
Dang
ding,
it.
ding.
Fart. Yeah.
That was pure guess, man. So
Yeah. Well, I
don't
mean,
feel bad about
I mean,
that.
all of these are just like, I mean, yeah, all these have been good
Pure
guesses.
guess. So
A mott. What is a mott?
I don't know.
Probably something that we have seen before in the movie, but
Yeah, it's probably in the movie, maybe flying around or something. I don't know. Or I was thinking maybe it pops out on the ground. That's why maybe
let
I
me
thought.
see.
Yeah.
Mott looks like it's just a four-legged creature, like just something that walks around. I don't know how it lives in underground burrows, though. This doesn't look like an underground type
Yeah.
of animal. So where is it? And then, looks like the only time we saw it in the movie was when Naboo, when Qui-Gon first met Jar Jar, when he like tackled him.
Oh yeah.
Like all those animals are like running.
That's probably where we saw one of them.
Excuse me.
Bless
Looks
you.
like I think I found a screenshot of it, but all right, there you go. Motts. They live in underground burrows on Naboo.
That's correct. All right. And that'll do it for this episode of Inside the Force. We appreciate everybody checking us out. He's Casey Cooley at Kryptonian1138 on Twitter. I am D Cottingham21 on Twitter. You can, of course, you can follow us and follow the show at Inside the Force on Twitter. Again, we are giving away Star Wars: A New Dawn, the brand new novel, the first canon novel from John Jackson Miller. Go give us a comment on iTunes. Go follow us and tweet us. Let us know that you did it, and you will be entered in. And we will pick a winner, and I will send you this brand new book so you can get into the Star Wars universe before the new series comes out in October.
Yep.
All right, so for Casey Cooley.
The Force is what gives a Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, it penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together. So there you go.
Not bad.
My Obi-Wan quote.
You're getting
I
better.
love
Your
it.
little British accent a little bit.
My Obi-Wan changes because it's a very specific type
Yeah.
of like British accent. So it's not just your typical British accent. But I love that quote because particularly relating to the New Dawn. Like I love reading about the Force, and that's something that these books I think are great at. teaching you more about how the Force works.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm excited about A New Dawn and about reading. So that's why I chose that quote.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Casey, for doing the show. Thanks, everybody out there for listening. We will be right back here next week with the latest Star Wars news and opinions and a little bit more on the book, hopefully, if not all of it. So, thanks, Case.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody, for listening, especially, and tune in next week for an all-new episode of Inside the Force. And may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.